I want everybody here who's watching this, I consider this a matter of social responsibility. I want you to pull up a chair and eliminate all the distractions, because I'm going to speak to each and every one of you as if you were my son or a student or someone I'm trying to mentor. I'm going to imagine that all of you know nothing, and we're talking from the complete ground up how to become the best versions of yourself. Because manhood is exceptionally hard and life is hard. But how you shape yourself will determine how hard it is for you and how miserable it will be. As a man, there is no easy life. If you're looking for an easy life, you should have been a girl. Your life is not about being easy. Your life is not about being happy. Your life is always going to be difficult. All of the pain you feel, all of the sadness you feel, you're supposed to feel as a man, and you have two effective binary choices. You either go through the suffering and go through the trauma and go through the hardship it takes to be a man of value, or you suffer eternity as a nobody. And being invisible, I would argue, is almost worse. You can have a very stress-free life if you work in Starbucks. You don't care about the Starbucks once you clock off. You go home, you play video games, and you exist until you die. That's stress-free, but you have to suffer being a nobody. Alternatively, you can go out there into the world, try and implement your mark on the world, work hard, try to get rich, more money, more problems. You can try and start a business, the stress of that. You can lose your girlfriend because all you're doing is working. This is a new level of stress, a new level of trauma, but at least you'll be a somebody at the end of it. Or you either suffer to become a somebody, or you suffer as a perpetual and forever nobody. While others complain that they do not feel happy enough, I'm happy I'm struggling. You understand? I don't care. I'm happy to be struggling. That is the beauty of life as a man, to be great. If you concern yourself only with being happy, you are once again acting like a female or a child. Happiness is fleeting. I want to be happy. Who cares? I want to be great. Would you rather be a loser who's always smiling, or would you rather be a stressed winner? Because I'll tell you something about winners. Most of them are stressed. So you have to sit here and ask yourself, do you want to be a happy loser that's insignificant? Nobody knows you exist. Women don't respect you. Nobody cares if you live or die, but you get to smile all the time. Or do you want to be one of the most important people on the planet with a little bit of stress? If you stop caring about being happy and you start caring instead about being great, guess what you end up being? Along with great. You end up happy if you forget about happiness and try to become great. You will never be successful if you're concerned about being happy, so forget about it. So how do you find happiness? Happiness is in struggle. The struggle and the size of the struggle you're facing, along with how important it is and how important you feel it is deep in your heart, is directly correlated to how successful and how happy you're going to feel all of the time. Solving those problems lead to a positive place. Once you become addicted to it, you're going to become a machine of monumental achievement. There are some very simple basic things you can do. Weight training, chess, trying your very best to take care of your mother, retire her. You need goals and resistance and something to fight against to live well. If you only have joy all of the time and no pain, you are not going to be happy. You don't need drugs. You don't need alcohol. You don't need parties or festivals. You don't need fun. Fun is the vector from which Satan operates. It's all just hedonistic. There's no money to be made. You don't retire your mother. You don't help the world. You don't give to charity. You don't become stronger. You don't become wiser. You don't learn anything. Life's not about fun as a man. Life is about doing the right thing because it must be done. You do not need fun until you've already reached the highest possible echelon. So this whole idea that you need fun in your life, you don't. What you need is purpose. You need discipline. You need things to do which are going to benefit you and the others around you. You need obligations, and you need performance metrics. You don't need to be waking up thinking about fun. You're not important. Nobody knows who you are. You're not physically strong. You're not financially wealthy. You have bigger concerns. Hey, what are we going to do this weekend? We need to have some fun. Really? Have you actually gone out there in the universe and made a mark large enough that you're allowed some time off to have some fun? You don't deserve any fun. You don't need any fun. You have work to do. These things you think are fun aren't fun. For a man, your contentment will come from your purpose, and it will come from your competence, and it will come from succeeding objectives. It will come from completing difficult things that other people cannot complete. It will never come from the easily accessible hedonism, which you have confused for fun. If everybody can go to that concert, you shouldn't want to go. You should only want to do things others can't do. The only fun I have is doing things I know you're not allowed to do. But if you say to me, Andrew, come to this party, and I say, well, who's there? Everyone. If everyone's there, it's trash. And the fact that you think that's fun shows that you have a severe mental deficiency. You're only going to find actual fun through purpose. And you're only going to find purpose through exceptionalism. So you need to become the best possible version of yourself in all realms. You're unhappy because you're trying to have fun instead of trying to become important. And you're never going to feel satisfied in your heart unless you become important. Please imagine for a second you're the most Googled man on the planet. Hundreds of millions of dollars and you're built like a tank. Imagine how you feel when you look in the mirror. Nothing can match that and nothing can beat that. As a man, you need to have struggle in your life. And I want you guys to actually sit and think, what struggle are you undertaking? What struggle are you trying to overcome? Because you should make a list of them. Difficult lives are fulfilling because we used to have to hunt and fish and go through difficulty to survive. And I often see that when I speak to people who are too comfortable, they end up being unhappy. You must earn happiness. You must climb a mountain. You must struggle yourself to happiness. That's extremely important. There must be physical, mental, social, some kind of spiritual struggle. And those things being satisfied is what's going to satisfy you. The only other alternative to that to feel good is hedonism. And that's not going to satisfy you for very long. It's also going to destroy your life. And the starting block to all of these things is your body. Try and train MMA, learn how to fight, get stronger, get bigger muscles. It's a fast track to self-discipline, which will carry over into all other endeavors. In fact, how many people can say the gym saved their life? That is the easiest struggle, which is never going to backfire on you and never going to be a negative towards any other facet of your life. I actually find it amazing that there's people out there who aren't in perfect physical condition. Guys, let me tell you all a newsflash. If you eat right and you train hard, you look good. It's almost impossible to be fat and look bad if you eat right and train hard. So why don't you all look like superheroes? Do you not understand how intimidating that is just when they look at a group of people and they all look like superheroes and they can tell they're all disciplined, all dedicated, all physically strong? The struggle is what's beautiful about it. First, you want to become as strong as physically possible. Next, you want to try and make as much money as possible. Not even necessarily for the money, although money is extremely important, so it allows you to take care of yourself, but there's the challenge involved, and solving that challenge is going to make you feel more satisfied as a human. Happiness comes from success, and making money is success. What did Napoleon say? Glory is fleeting, but obscurity is forever. And when he says fleeting, that's a really good point, because everything in life is rented, especially your glory as a man. When you have a good body, it is not a good body as complete. It's not finished. You haven't completed the task. You have rented that good physical condition. You must train every day to retain it. You don't just get a good body and you're done. You still have to go to the gym every day to maintain that good body. You don't just get a hot girl and it's done. You still have to work hard for her to always love you and respect you. You don't just start a business and now you're rich. No, you have to start a business and work on that business every day. If you take your eye off the business, it will fail. Everything in life is rented. So when he says glory is fleeting, he's also absolutely not correct. You have to constantly and endlessly work for it and make sure that you never stop. Otherwise, it will be taken from you. But obscurity is forever. If you never make a mark on the world, then you effectively never existed. And when you're gone, nobody will care. And this is genuine choice for you people at home. Do you want to live in obscurity forever and be invisible and not matter and have an easier life? I would argue that it's not easier, because in your heart and in your soul, you're going to feel guilty knowing you could have been something you're not, and you have a duty to your ancestors and to God to be the best version of yourself. Or do you want to try your absolute best and struggle and suffer every day of your life, paying the rent for all of the amazing things around you? We pay endless rent. We pay rent for our bodies. We pay rent for our relationships. We pay rent to keep our kids. We pay rent to keep our business. We pay rent to keep our freedom. Every single day is work to pay the rent. It's absolutely never ending, and you have to make that choice. So if you have a pen and paper in front of you, you need to decide. Do you want to be invisible with a lower rent bill, or do you want to be important and suffer to make sure that the rent is paid? It's a choice you must make, and it's binary, and you must be extremely dedicated towards the decision you finally make. And it's very difficult, as most of you men are just finding yourselves trying to figure out what and who you should be in a culture with little to no proper guidance. If you remove me from the internet, you have a whole bunch of loudmouths who've not achieved anything amazing or remarkable in their real lives, who don't act in a respectful way, who've not had any real world achievements. There's a few people I can name who aren't like that, but we're generalizing. And then you have a largely matriarchal society and a matriarchal education system that you're beholden to. So who's teaching you to be a man? If you're fortunate enough to have a fantastic father, great. But if you don't, there are very little lessons, and there's basically no guidance out there explaining to you the self-accountability which is required to be a man. Everything we were just saying to you earlier about making the choice of being invisible or being highly important and paying the rent for one of those two choices, that's based around absolute and utter brutal self-accountability. You must accept the decision you want to make, and you must accept that everything is your fault. Everything is on your shoulders, regardless of what God throws at you. People are afraid of accepting there's a problem because then they know they have a responsibility towards fixing it. And they don't want to do anything, one, because they're lazy, and two, because they're afraid they might lose. So they'd rather pretend there's no problem at all. And I think it's not always the winning and the losing. It's the fighting in the first place. And there's plenty of men in history you remember who ended up losing in the end, who still fought, which is why they mattered. It's not, if you're only going to fight when you're guaranteed to win, then no bravery is required. Forget about the winning and losing for now. Focus on the fight. If you do not overcome your tendency to give up so easily, your life will lead to nothing. Fear is a reaction. Courage is a decision. You have to train your mind to be stronger than your emotions, especially your impulses, or else you're going to lose yourself. Most of the important things in the world have been accomplished by men who kept fighting when there seemed to be no hope at all. Why go to the gym? Why get strong? Why work hard? Why get rich? Why be funny? Why be charismatic? Why do anything? It doesn't matter. The world's gonna end. Sit in your pod. Wait for the food delivery. That's what they want from all of us. They want all of us to have absolutely no ambition and to sit there and be slave-minded. It's very difficult to resist enslavement if you need the government to eat. I find it amazing that men will sit and watch movies about prisoners of war in Japan, or watch movies about men who go to war and risk their lives, or watch all these hero movies, have admiration for the hero, and they believe themselves to be some version of a hero, and then they're too afraid to say no to putting on a mask. If you're not going to say no to putting on a mask, don't watch hero movies anymore, because you're certainly not a hero. You are one of the villains. You're the stupid little henchmen who get beaten up. Those guys who are on screen for a flash of a second and die without consequence. Nobody even cares or mentions them again. Their family don't even get to give them a funeral. You're a nobody villain. You're not even an important one. The important villains, we know their names. You're a number, you're not a name. And if you want to be a superhero in life, you need to understand that for 80% of the movie, you're going to suffer. For 80% of the movie, you're going to lose. Watch any superhero movie. For 80% of the movie, it is nothing but pain and frustration. And when your life is that way, you have a chance to grow into something fantastic, and you should thank God for every difficult thing he puts in your path. I really believe God's given me one of the best lives, and I can't complain about anything bad that's happened. It's all been fantastic. I'm truly thankful for all of it. Thank you, God, for that difficult time. I think if a couple bad things happen to you, you should be intelligent enough to realize that eventually you're going to get over it, and you're going to learn an important lesson. It's going to change you in the correct direction, and Allah's the best of planners, and he knows what you need to learn. I think that as humans, especially as men, we only learn the hard way anyway. There's no easy way to learn a lesson. You have to learn the hard way. So God gives us lessons via difficulty. He thinks you need to learn this about yourself or this about other people. So I'm going to give you a difficult time so you can learn your lesson. Because if I told you, if I just said, hey, Andrew, this is how the world works, you go, yeah. When you feel it, my fight coach used to say, you have to feel it to believe it. So God will give you a difficult time so you learn your lessons. And the lessons are very important for you to be the person who you need to be in this life. He's the best of planners, and I'm thankful for all the lessons he's given me. He's bestowed knowledge upon me. How could I not be grateful to God for making me so intelligent and wise, and the ability to look into things so deeply and come up to the right decision and basically predict the future perfectly? How did I know how the world works? You have to have difficulty happening to you all the time. So when you sit and say, I want an easy life, what you're saying is you're a dummy, and you want to be a dummy. You want to stay a dummy. I want an easy life, and I don't want anything bad to happen to me, because even though it will teach me lessons, I'm too big of I can't handle the emotional pain. I can't handle the stress. So you want to stay a dumbass. If I want to be smart, then hurt me. All of the wisdom I have, all of this knowledge I speak, all of these things I say have been learned through basically difficulty of life, through professional fighting and being poor, and all bad things happening to me and struggle. All of my lessons have been bad things, bad events, bad scenarios, bad situations, pain, suffering, resentment. All of these horrible emotions are how I've learned everything. So I thank God for giving them to me. And anyone who wants an easy life wants to stay a dummy. What do you learn if you just get money, you sleep with some girls, you go to some restaurants? What do you learn about anything? When bad things happen to me, I just kind of enjoy it. And I think that maybe it's perhaps I just enjoy it for the story. Perhaps my whole life is not about trying to find comfort, it's trying to find challenges, and it's trying to find stories. Once you understand all of the bad things and good things that come into your life are a perfect plan from God himself, you're going to be a lot less affected by the bad things. You're
If something bad happens to you, it's part of God's plan. He knows what he's doing. In the end, you're going to be happy it happened. I often ask people, is there anything bad that's happened to you in the past at the time you were distraught about that you now wish didn't even happen? So if you understand you're always going to get there eventually, why be upset about it now, right? If you know in a year from now you'll be glad it happened, why be upset about it happening now? You have to be cerebral enough about things. You often find that people who are struggling but know exactly what they're supposed to do, if they're getting up every day and they're grinding and they're working hard and they don't have what they want yet, but they believe they're going to get it, and they're trying their very best, and they're dedicating themselves, they're very happy. Perhaps to people who are born with a trust fund and unlimited money and have no struggles in their life, and they have no objectives to try and conquer, are truly the miserable ones.